We can choose to act from a place of fear or from a place of love. We always have that choice in every moment of life. And if it's something that I learned is that we should always we should always act towards our highest excitement and always act from a place of love. That just gets us where we want to be. So even if you have some anxiety about survivalism, or in your case, YouTube, the YouTube demons, um, I think you're getting to that point. Sorry, I interrupted you, but yeah, you said that you won't be letting fear govern you.
Exactly. And this was literally because that's why it's on my mind, because I did the last 2 live streams on the new channel, and someone in the live chat was just like, oh, like, why did you make a new channel for that? And I tried to answer that question. And while I was answering, I was like, oh, it's just because I'm fearful.
Yeah.
Like that's the only reason. Like there's no other reason to that. And then I was like, do I really want to make that decision just because out of fear?
Yeah, because
And
fear begets fear. Like if you feed your fear monsters, you are going to have a bigger fear monster inside of you. So if you're prepping because of fear and anxiety, I don't think that's gonna solve a lot for you. But if you do vibe with the community and find the philosophy interesting and start to prep based on your love for the philosophy and love for the community, then that's awesome.
this is exactly the point I was trying to make, because I do self-custody because I want to have my own keys and I want to be self-sovereign. But you could also make the argument, oh, you just do self-custody because you're fearful of someone taking your Bitcoin. But it feels very different, like I'm not doing self-custody out of fear. I'm doing self-custody out of self-fulfilling, almost like it's a self-sovereignty. I was like, I want to feel in control. And then it's like, okay, what is the difference between me starting a new channel out of fear and me doing the most paranoid self-custody setup ever?
Mm-hmm.
And it feels very different.
It is different.
And
I
it
don't
is
want to
very
hear you
different.
finish this argument. Yeah.
But you could actually in both cases make the argument that, oh, you're just acting out of fear.
No, I don't think so. And you feel that there's a difference, right? Because there is a difference. There's a difference when you act from a place of fear and from a place of love. In the case where you are when you are custodying your UTXOs, that if that comes from a place of fear, then sure, then you are acting from a place of fear. But I don't think that is the case, and that is what you are feeling. You're feeling that you're doing this because of love for the movement, love for your future, love for the security, and rather than fear of losing. It's the same thing with exercise, for example. You can do exercise out of fear from becoming ill or weak or not being able to punch back in an altercation. But if you go into martial arts or lifting weights or whatever because of fear, I don't think that is going to be as meaningful, long-lasting as if you do it for your love for yourself, for your health, for developing new skills, and just for the enjoyment of the sport. If you do it for the right reasons, you're gonna feel that, you're gonna know it intuitively, and I think that makes all the difference. And I mean, there, of course, it can be there can be a mix. You can have components of fear and anxiety mixed within the love and enjoyment. But I think that as long as you act on joy and love rather than on fear and anxiety, and if you always act on your highest excitement, then you are on a great path. You're on a great path towards making more painful awakenings, and just becoming the best possible version of you, which is just to remember who you already are.
I guess that's a great point, because like the different feeling that I have with it is because I am genuinely excited about self custody, but I'm very not excited about going through the trouble of like, oh, I have to get a new phone number, so the phone number is not connected to the old Google account, and like all that weird things. And so there's like an excitement argument in there, like, and this excitement is kind of is the love for the craft I have for like stamping your seed phrase. Like it seriously makes fun for me. It's like, oh nice, like I can do that. Like it is like almost the physicality of it I love, you know, like there's like it makes it like more physical. That's I never thought about that. It
Self
really is
custody is a
interesting.
craft, and you are practicing that craft, and you're getting better at it, and that is, I think that's awesome. Like, it's a skill to practice as any other. Working on your privacy and your craft of self custodying, and just improving your financial life.
You mentioned to me before the podcast that you see Bitcoin as a cosmic Schelling point, and I don't even know what this means. Like I'm not even clear like in what direction this is going.
Okay, so yeah, how should we start this? So there's a thought experiment, and here's the thought experiment. Imagine that you have to find a specific person on planet Earth, and you have no idea who they are, where they were born, how old they are, what language they speak, what culture they belong to. You have no idea. The only thing that you know is that they have been given the exact same instructions. They have to find you, but they know nothing about you. And you have no phones, no social media, no clues. You just have to find each other. And if you don't succeed, the world ends. Where do you start? This is the idea of a Schelling point, named after the economist Thomas Schelling. Mm, and it's about finding a solution that people converge on without coordination. So when it comes to like finding that other person who has been given the exact same instructions, just find this person. You don't know who it is, where they're born, how old they are, what they look like, what language they speak. Then you have to converge on a time and space without communicating, without coordinating. So you have to find a place and a time and place that feels natural, obvious, and almost gravitational. And so for this particular thought experiment, it's actually quite not that difficult. So if I'm asking you, for example, then like if you were to take on this challenge, you have to find this person who's been given the exact same instructions. Start with time. What time would you choose? When would you meet them?
As soon
Do you
as
have a thought?
possible.
Yeah, well, you would have to converge on something without being able to coordinate. So I think like the consensus answer would probably be something like New Year's Eve, because that's a global clock tick, so to say. It's a natural Schelling point in time for our species, for our culture.
But
And
even New Year's Eve, like people like celebrate it on like when it's midnight at their local time, which is like even like one times on a they couldn't like they might be very close to each other, but like they maybe celebrate like an hour earlier or something like that.
yeah, exactly. So that brings us to the next part. And also, this is about optimizing the chances, not about actually solving it. So the next part is about place. And that can be trickier, because if you say that you are in India, you would probably choose something like the Taj Mahal at New Year's Eve. In Egypt, you would choose the pyramids at New Year's Eve. But for the entire world, uh, I think that chances are that you would gravitate towards New York City, and there's a reason for that. First, the universal language of on our planet is English. It's the international language. It's the language of science. So for that matter, we would choose some place in the Western world, and we would choose a place that feels like either like the economic epicenter of the world or just the capital of the world. And I think New York City would make a great candidate. But it wouldn't be like Times Square, because that's just too chaotic. Imagine Times Square at New Year's Eve. You wouldn't be able to find anybody there. But a place like the highest floor on the Empire State Building, for example, midnight at New Year's Eve. I think that would optimize your chances of meeting that other person who's been given the exact same instructions. So that's sort of the thought experiment of a Schelling point, or just what a Schelling point means. And now we can stretch this out to the stars, and there's a point about Bitcoin at the end, I promise. So suppose we, instead of wanting to find another person here on planet Earth, suppose we want to communicate with another civilization that we don't know what they are, we don't know how they speak, what they look like, we don't know what means of communication they use. We don't know if it's a species that uses a sound or vision, or even like gravitational waves or quantum tunnels. We have no idea how they communicate. But if we want to talk to something like ourselves, like a civilization that is just advanced enough to use something like radio waves, then that is the medium that we would both recognize. So we would choose radio waves because we are not capable of using any other more sophisticated method than radio waves. We don't have access to quantum tunnels or whatever. We can't communicate with gravitational waves. So radio waves is the most sophisticated communication tool that we have currently. And we wouldn't settle for something less than that either, because it's sort of the first communication tool that we have that would make us able to communicate with another civilization, because there is nothing less than that. We're just at the very first level of being able to communicate with something outside of our own world. Like, say we discovered a species that is as advanced as rodents or bugs, or maybe great apes, but they had not mastered any communications besides like grunts and maybe some chemical communication, or whatever, then we wouldn't be able to communicate with them much, because there would be a bridge too vast, or there would be a linguistic gap too vast to bridge. So we would choose radio. But even then, we would have to ask, radio at what frequency? And this is the second point of the Schelling point of how we would communicate interstellarly. And you would be surprised that the cosmos is actually a quite noisy place. So you would have to find a specific spectral line with which to communicate. And the natural Schelling point for radio waves would be 1,420 megahertz. Do you know why, Robin? It's because it is hydrogen. It is the frequency of hydrogen, and hydrogen makes sense because it's the most abundant element in the world, in the universe. So we would choose radio waves, and we would choose 1,420 megahertz. And it turns out that that is exactly where we are listening and where we are broadcasting right now. That this is something that NASA and the SETI program has already figured out, or it is their philosophy. But so far, there's only silence in this spectrum, which shouldn't surprise us, because the signals that we have sent out have so far reached only about a tenth of a percent of the entire width of the Milky Way galaxy. So if you say it like, if you think of the Milky Way galaxy as having this width, and 1% of that, something like this, and then 1/10 of that, it is nothing. It has reached absolutely nowhere yet. And if you look at the volume of the Milky Way galaxy that our signals have expanded into, it's even less. It's something like 0.000000001% of the entire volume of the Milky Way galaxy. Our signals have reached nowhere yet. It's not even a drop in the galactic ocean. So we shouldn't be surprised. Like maybe we aren't using the right medium anyway. Maybe it should be quantum tunnels or something. Maybe it's uninteresting to communicate with us. But we are doing the best that we can. Right now we're listening at 420 megahertz radio waves. But so far silence, but we haven't even explored a single drop in the galactic ocean so far. But here's the turn. So Bitcoin is doing the same thing, selling point, but for value. It's an economic selling point. It's an economic selling point in the sense that it is a protocol that nobody coordinates, yet everybody converges on. A protocol that no one coordinates, yet everybody converges on. And that's that is an amazing insight in itself. And I mean, we converge on Bitcoin not because anybody told us to, but simply because it's the best form of money. It's the obvious solution once you see the problem that money solves.
Thank you for watching this video. This was only a snippet of the podcast. And if you want to watch the full episode and get all of the context of this episode, you can click right here or here. Oh, maybe also here.